Thank you, first of all of you, thank you for joining. And I'd love to have a more interactive session. So feel free to share your questions in the chat. That'll be wonderful. I'd really like that. And if you can introduce yourself in the chat, apart from that, your questions you keep posting. Okay. So your introduction, I see there are 14 people here who have joined me. Please, do the honors and introduce yourself in the chat here. Okay, so that'll be really, really good. And I am going to now, I'm going to invite, I'm going to start my presentation. Not invite anybody, I'm going to start my presentation. But yeah, I'd request everyone to introduce quickly. I see nobody is responding at all. Please do introduce yourself. It's a great opportunity to network with the other attendees. Also, it's good. I'll get to know you. It's a wonderful way to, it's a community, right? We do these webinars so often. It'll be fantastic if we can, get to know each other a little better, I think. All right. So I guess time to get started with my presentation also. Okay. So before we get started, quickly, round of introductions, please. Everybody's keeping quiet, saying nothing. And also, I would love to know what are your questions around this subject. Is there anything specifically that you want to know? Do you have any questions in your mind? Happy to answer them. Like, it just makes it so much easier and so much more interactive if you can just share your interests, motivations. Okay. All right. So let me see. Thank you, Ashima Joshi and Priya Rita. Thank you very much. I see so many of you, otherwise, some familiar faces. Also, please do introduce yourself. I'm opening the presentation. All right. We are ready to begin. I'll share my screen. All right, so we are on. What is blockchain? Okay, so blockchain is something that you must have heard a lot of discussions about around blockchain. That blockchain is reshaping the world. Actually, there's a lot more discussions about blockchain last year, especially a lot of discussion around blockchain is essentially about due to Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin. People have made a lot of money from Bitcoin. A lot of people have made money out of Bitcoin, and the prices of Bitcoin went up. And then people got very excited about blockchain. So blockchain is the technology which Bitcoin uses essentially, and it's a very, very interesting concept. And it's like many people have said that it's a revolutionary technology which which has a potential of reshaping a lot of different industries and have a huge impact on economy and everything, right? It's definitely important to understand, and there's a lot of opportunity of applying blockchain technology to the legal industry as well. Okay, and it's good to understand these kind of technologies which are going to come up, simply because you are probably going to be affected by them in one way or the other, right? You cannot escape the impact of such kind of technology, which may over time really reshape the industry. So it's a better to understand what is going on. It is better to align yourself with those forces, so that ensures that you are in a good place. Even if there are disruptions that happen in the industry, you are prepared for that. You have aligned yourself. You have lined up things in a way that you are not badly affected. You are not caught unprepared. That is the goal, right? So let's talk about that, right? So How does it affect your plans? Application of blockchain in the legal industry. What are the possible applications and how can it impact your plans? Uh, First of all, what is blockchain, right? So, any of you know here what is blockchain? Quick answers. You can come live. I can give you access also. I'm happy to give you access. I see there are 20 participants. I'm sure you guys are interested in blockchain, and one person can explain to me what is blockchain very quickly, please. Yep. Anybody, you can raise your hand. You can write it in the chat. Come on, quick. Somebody. What is blockchain? You can Google it also, no problem. You can Google it and tell me a good definition of blockchain. What is blockchain? Come on, quick. Nobody? What is going on? What is blockchain? Task management software? No, it's not. It's not. Google, Hina. Quick, Google. Google and tell us what is blockchain. Come on, quick, Google it. It's very easy. Just Google it and tell us all. Nurita Karnik, a blockchain is a digital record of transactions. Very good. The name comes from its structure in which individual records called blocks are linked together in a single list called a chain. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. It doesn't fully explain what is blockchain, but it's a good start. It's a good start. Okay. So, what is blockchain? So, you have to understand a few things. So, one is that it is a digital record. Okay, blockchain is a digital record. But what happens is that normally, what is it like when we are recording? For example, we are having this session, right? All this data which is being recorded or the chat that you're having here, this is sitting somewhere in a storage, right? There's a computer, there's a server somewhere, which is essentially a computer of some kind, in which the data is being stored. Which is why we can actually, this software Zoom is being hosted on a server somewhere, and it's running from that computer. Like even in my computer, there's an interface, but actually the entire backend of the software is not running on my computer or your computer. There's a server somewhere where it is hosted, right? If you're opening a website, the website is opening up from somewhere. There's a server where all this data is hosted, and it opens from there, right? So information is normally stored in one device, which is one server, right? But that is not the case with blockchain. Okay, in blockchain, it's a little different. What happens in blockchain is that the data is stored not in a single server, but it is across many devices. Okay, across many devices. There are many devices, many computers participating. Some very powerful computers sometimes participating in the system, and they are keeping all this record together, right? So no, it's not like there is the data is in only one single computer or something. All of these devices coming together and providing the entire computing power needed to run the blockchain where all the data is stored. So instead of things being stored in one computer or one server, it is stored in a distributed manner in so many devices. Okay, does that make sense to you? Okay, so because it is distributed, it's called a distributed ledger. So the record, it's a distributed ledger, and all this information is getting distributed. So means that it is not, what is hacking? I can go to a server and change the data somewhere, right? Imagine that there's a data about your birth records, or your how much money you, or say like your tax records, or your how much marks you scored in class 12. These things must be stored somewhere in some computer, right? It may be stored in multiple computers also, because these days everything is getting digitalized. People are not likely to have physical copies. Even if they have now, in future they may not have. So everything is stored in computers. So if I want to change your birth date, I can essentially find a computer where it is stored, and I can change the data there, and then suddenly your birth date changes. There is no proof anywhere that your birth date is something. There can be other proof. I'm just saying that official record got changed, right? This is possible. This is a big problem with centralized data which is being stored. Now blockchain changes that. Blockchain is saying that, look, this data is not going to be in one place. This data is going to be everywhere. So you can't change it. Okay. You can't, it's not, you cannot change it, you can change it, but it's very hard to change it. Why is it hard to change it? Because then it's called, you have to take over this entire blockchain. So imagine that there's a certain amount of computing power powering this blockchain. Okay. And even your smartphone can participate in a blockchain. Okay. Then certain part of your phone's computing power and the storage will be used of your phone will be used as a part of the distributed system of that blockchain. And it can be done, it could, but actually there are depends also now how powerful that blockchain is, how big it is, how many computers are participating in it, how many servers, like people create powerful machines to participate in these blockchains. Now why is that? Why do they do that? Why will they, people will lend their machines to be part of the blockchain, right? This is a good question, right? That is because they're rewarded for the same. Okay, so if you're lending more computing power to the blockchain and you are, so blocks are mined. So this information that is being mined is called a block, and this block is then distributed across all these devices. But when you mine a block, etc., so you get some coins maybe. Okay, that is why all this kind of alt currencies and all this, there are different kind of cryptocurrencies. Actually, they are connected to blockchain in this way. To reward all this computing power, you are creating these coins, right? And you are giving it to people. So greater the number, Ashima Joshi is asking, so you mean greater the number of servers, the more secure your data is? Absolutely. Okay, that's absolutely true. If there are more servers, and not only more, it depends on the power, right? So if there's a very weak computer, it doesn't matter so much. But imagine there are supercomputers powering that. Then it is very hard because you can hack one computer. It's also distributed. There are so many computers, so many servers, so many, they are involved. Rigs, they are called rigs. Cryptocurrency rigs and block. So huge machines, and they are almost very powerful computers, and more of them involved. The more, so people are. This is called mining. Okay, so you're mining cryptocurrency, you're mining Bitcoin. What do they mean when you're mining? Basically, you are powering the blockchain, and the blockchain, the system is rewarding you with some coins for this service and doing all this, making it all possible with your computing system. So this is what blockchain is, and it really, it's a very unique system. And interesting thing is that it can, if it is a public blockchain, then nobody has any control over it, right? No one person, no government, nobody can say that, okay, I want this change. They cannot do it because it is, nobody has the control, right? The only way to control is to get 51% of people who are owning this thing, 50%, 51% of computing power owners, shareholders, you can think, so to speak, the way a company works with shareholders, 51% shareholders can decide something as a majority. Similarly, in a blockchain, people who are holding 51% of the computing power can decide something. And hackers also do this sometimes. They try to hack a blockchain by doing a 51% attack. So they will, bring in a lot of computers, join the system, and then they will try to become 51% of the entire network so that they can take over the entire network and then do whatever they want to do, right? So this is a situation. 51% people have this thing. What is the question? Everything has more than 7 levels of security. What do you mean by the 7 levels? Where did you get, Hina? I didn't understand this question. So yeah, so this is blockchain, right? And you can imagine there are so many different uses that you can put a blockchain to, but essentially it is a distributed record, and when you are saying it is immutable record. Why is it immutable? It's immutable because it is not immutable actually. It can be changed if you have 51% capacity of the whole network, but that becomes very hard. Like Bitcoin has such a massive network, it is very hard even for a government to create such supercomputers to take over, the Bitcoin network if they want to do so. Very hard. And public blockchains are therefore considered more trusted, more secure. So I know, for example, in Russia right now there is a fear amongst people that there may be maybe some protests and things like that. So a lot of, and then people are trying to, some people are afraid that economy may crash. So they are buying Bitcoin. They know that Bitcoins, is safe. Government, and you can move around Bitcoin around the world quite easily. Government cannot trace it, or not that easy to trace it. So there are such things that a lot of people prefer in a private system which is outside the control of any governments. That's a public blockchain gives you that facility. So many people who believe in independence from government, you should have more personal liberty and so on. They believe in blockchain, and then other things also. For example, certain things. China, bans certain information, and they want to delete certain information from public domain. So Chinese activists, what they do, they create a blockchain record of it. That look, we have created this blockchain record. Now it cannot be changed using Ethereum or something like that. They create a record. So that record then cannot be changed. It is there in blockchain, and even if the Chinese government wants, it cannot do anything. It cannot censor. It cannot be deleted, right? So that is, so people have this. Many people have this huge sentiment about blockchain. That blockchain will give us freedom. Blockchain will protect our, the interest of the common public someday, and so on. Okay. So Lakshmi is asking if government of India will regulate, then what kind of regulation you think we will have? We'll come into that. So in a bit we'll come to that. So let me share my screen again and go back to the phone. Okay. So what is exciting about blockchain? Can anybody tell me what is so exciting about blockchain? Why are people so excited and talking about blockchain all the time? Of course, one part is the monetary aspect. The other part is that there are, so many applications this has. I'll just give you one example that uh, if you have an immutable record, imagine just the land record. There is so many allegations that contract is, or the deed is fraud, it's not real, there's forgery, there's this, that. All of that goes away because the blockchain is so immutable, so powerful, it cannot be changed. So it's fraud proof, for example. That is one example, and just one application. There are so many other applications, like people are talking about, creating, for example, you create a new content, so you upload it on blockchain, so your proof of creation and date becomes, set in stone. Like, it's, if the courts will accept this as an evidence, you can show that I had created this document on such a such date. I created this song, wrote the lyrics on such a date. This agreement we created, and immutable, right? So there is no question of people later on denying, no, I did not sign it. No, I did not. This was not the language. This is not. You have done some forgery. All that cannot happen. And there are so many other applications which can change. Like, for example, land records can be on blockchain. Then it will be highly efficient. And there are so many other applications which come to it. Okay. So what is the connection with cryptocurrency? I was explaining to you the connection with cryptocurrency is that you are able to, there are cryptocurrencies that the blockchain is entirely created for no other purpose but for running a cryptocurrency, right? Something, it's like alternative cash, that money is being exchanged hands and it is running on blockchain. So money is getting transferred from me to you, so it is getting recorded on a blockchain. That, okay, this particular Bitcoin owner is let's say Kunta Rajesh, or this is a Bitcoin or part of a Bitcoin. The owner is Mayank Power. Okay, and this, or holder of so and so. It can be done like that. It's not actually after a name, but like it is in a wallet or where it is going. It's all being recorded, right? And it's a very powerful thing that way. Now, what is the connection with the cryptocurrency? That people can create cryptocurrency using blockchain, but also another situation is there where the blockchain is created for some other purpose. So, for example, some people are trying to create a blockchain-based arbitration system. Okay, blockchain-based arbitration system where everything runs on blockchain. and it's an arbitration platform. So that, however, to run that, if it is a public blockchain, then you have to reward people for running all these computers on the system to make the system possible. So then you'll have to create a rule as to, okay, for this much work, you will be rewarded with this much coins or this much currency or whatever. So you create those kind of tokens, coins, etc., and then you issue those to reward people for their participation in the system. So, what do you think? Okay, we can do with blockchain to solve legal problems. So let's take a look at that. One I already mentioned is land records. In India, land records are such a mess, and it is a big fight. People, there are accusations that government employees have changed some data after taking a bribe within the land records. There are so many torn pages. People are tearing pages of the land records and going away, and then it becomes very hard, okay, to do anything. So this is there. Plus, there are so many, for example, authentication of birth certificate or authentication of land record, so much easier if it will be on blockchain, because once it is created on blockchain, then you know that it is an immutable thing. So it cannot be changed. And then you can just, let's say, a certain parcel of land is represented by a coin. Then you can divide the coin and give half a coin to somebody, half a coin to another person, and so on. Like, if you want to do a partition, there can be high levels of efficiency coming out of land record if blockchain, if the entire land record, if it is on blockchain. Number one is that there will be high level of trust, high level of accuracy, and all these kind of that the fights, so many litigations will be avoided, and government will also have a great it will be much easier, because whenever there will be a transfer, like transfer will become seamless of property. Plus, whenever these kind of things will happen, people will not have to go to a mutation office and BLR office and all of that. People spend so many hours, lawyers have to do so much work. But if imagine there was blockchain, it would be done in a second. Like, and it can happen anytime. It's an automated system. You don't have to go meet somebody in the office, rely on some officer to do something. It could just happen automatically. It would be such an amazing, powerful system. Okay, what else can have? Slow courts. So this is a very good example. So imagine the entire court system could be running. Today it has become more real, but imagine the entire court system is running on this, right? So there is a possibility that hackers will hack into a court. No, it is hacking proof, right? Blockchain is very much hacking proof. So especially if it is large enough. So you can actually have our court systems running on a blockchain. There are people who have built entire court systems on blockchain. So I'll give you an example how it happens. Arbitration. People can't set up courts of they set up arbitration system, arbitration institute on blockchain. How does it happen? So imagine that both sides give a notice that, okay, one side gives a notice. They have already an arbitration agreement in place that this will be our arbitration institution. One party gives a notice to the arbitration institution and the other party that I want to start arbitration. It could be a simple email or whatever. Now the arbitration process is triggered, right? So what the institution will do, it will appoint through an automated process, randomly one judge or one arbitrator will be assigned. Same thing can happen in the court, by the way, because there is so much argument over appointment, which judges are to be given which cases. And there are allegations of forum shopping. There are allegations of certain judges being given certain cases for political reasons or so on. Now, that can entirely change, because it can become an entirely automated system which has absolutely zero, intervention from anybody, right? And automatically it will be a highly trusted system. Nobody can hack it, so you can do that. Now the arbitration system. So what happens is that automatically an arbitrator is appointed, and then there is this coins, whatever cryptocurrency, it will get paid. So the person who has to do the arbitration, he buys certain coins, pays it to the arbitrator or to the system. However it works, it will be an automated system, and then the arbitrator has to pass a judgment within a certain period, and then it is done. And then, maybe I want to appeal, and they have built an appeal system also, that okay, you want to appeal, then instead of one, now there will be 3 judges, and it will all happen automatically, right? So this way it is possible to do these automated arbitration, and you can speed up courts like anything. It has already happened since filing is being accepted over email. All these things, it has speed up, it made things much more speedy. Online court is much more speedy than physical court, as you've seen in this COVID days. Okay, so corporate governance. This is a very, very important area. Okay, corporate governance has a massive application of blockchain. So how? So for example, there's something called DAO, a distributed automated organization. Okay, so think of an escrow. Okay, an escrow arrangement, a basic arrangement, right? An escrow arrangement. So what does an escrow say? That okay, let's say there is an escrow that I will sell my shares to you, and when my shares will be held in escrow, and your money will be held in escrow first. Now, when the escrow has both the shares and the money, then the shares will be passed on to you, and the money will be passed on to me by the escrow. What it does is that it avoids the situation where I have given you my shares, but you're delaying your payment. This can be disastrous in some situations. So they have created escrow. Okay, there is a middle person. So if the money did not come within certain amount of time, you will return the shares to me, and the sale will be void. Okay, this is an escrow arrangement, and there are many escrow arrangements like this. Okay, that is related to licenses, very different escrow arrangements. Now, an escrow arrangement, what is happening? There's a person sitting in the middle. A middleman is sitting there and doing this, right? What if he doesn't do it? What if he breaks his trust? What if he goes bankrupt suddenly? What many things can happen, honestly. It doesn't happen really often, but it can happen. And more importantly, the guy who's sitting in escrow in the middle, he charges a fee for doing this. Now, what if this was all automated? What if there is a computer system and there is no human being? That is even more error free. That is even more reliable. So escrow, it's a very simple application of blockchain. That there is a blockchain based system, and there are certain triggers built into it. The moment that happens, it will act accordingly, right? So this is an automated organization, right? Say it's a company and it's an automated company. In future, companies will be like this based on blockchain. We all automated, right? So you have the Companies Act, which is written that these rules have to be followed, and there's a company secretary or is sitting there ensuring these rules are being followed. There are directors, they have obligation to follow these rules. But what if it could be automated? What if it could be all automatic? And that can be done. A distributed automated organization will be like this. So somebody actually created a venture capital fund. The world's first distributed automated organization based on blockchain. So basically, it is a blockchain based company, and the company has no human being, no intervention of human being. Its entire functionality is based on software, coded into software in blockchain. Okay. So what essentially happens is that whenever, so people put in money in that, it's a venture capital fund. So people put in money, and it has already built in certain rules as to which kind of companies it will invest in, and it will automatically invest. Okay. It will not need any further input. It is built in such a way it will automatically pick those companies and invest. There is a good example of this. If you know what are index funds. Have you heard of index funds? Yes, Pragati, it can be used outside cryptocurrency. The crypto I explained, you may have joined later. It has so much application. What I am explaining right now, it's not about cryptocurrency, right? So it is not cryptocurrency. I'm giving an example of how, for example, blockchain can be used for land records. Now I'm talking about corporate governance, right? So there's no cryptocurrency here. Now imagine there's how many of you know what is an index fund? Can anybody know what is an index fund? In the chat, please write in the chat. Do you know what is index fund? Okay, nobody's saying anything. Okay, nobody's saying anything at all. Okay, so an index fund is essentially a organization. It's a mutual fund. Okay, but there are some mutual funds where the guys are sitting and thinking, okay, which is a good company to invest in, and they're paid for that. They charge money that we are good at picking stocks. We will invest. You don't know where to invest. We are a mutual fund owner, we are a hedge fund owner, we will invest. We know where to invest, we will invest. Okay. Now, index fund on the other hand, the fund manager has no role. Fund manager has his hands tied. It is in the index. So let's say it's a Sensex. So it's a Sensex index fund. So it is basically going to invest into the Sensex stocks. Nothing else. It cannot invest into something else. If some stock goes out of Sensex, then they will take the money out of that stock and put in the new stock that came into Sensex 30. There are 30 stocks in Sensex, right? So they'll invest only in those 30 stocks, any given point of time. Similarly, there are there are other index, mid size index funds, so on. There are many of them, and their job is simple. You invest in all these companies and just try to emulate the index as closely as possible. Okay, as closely as possible. Will blockchain reduce employment? That's an interesting question. It won't. I will explain why later. What happens is that you index fund, there's a fund manager sitting and following the rules. What are the rules? That according to you just invest in the index. Okay, Sensex index fund. Okay, then Sensex you invest in. So he doesn't have to apply his brain. He just have to keep buying, selling as per the index. Now, why should it be done by a human being? Why can't it be done by a computer? So it can be done by a DAO, basically a distributed automated organization, right? It's an automated company. It's an automated mutual fund. No role of a human person, no scope for error. It will automatically keep, programmatically it will buy and sell shares as per the rules of that index fund that the subscribers agreed with. And this is a matter of time. You'll soon start seeing these kind of distributed automated organizations, and in the future there's a high chance that companies will be entirely based on DAO. Like, your company has to be a DAO, otherwise you can't function. Like, it may not be 100% DAO. There are things would be otherwise also. But imagine a system. So right now what happens? There is a buying selling happening, then somebody is making a balance sheet, then uploading it somewhere, and then giving it to the government, giving it to income tax. Now in a DAO, it will be all automated. Like, the buy and sell happened, you don't have to make a balance sheet. It will be made in the system automatically. It just will be done. It's all coded back to back in a way that somebody sold something, somebody bought something, the tax you paid, tax will be paid automatically. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to pay tax. It will be paid out of your account from the organization automatically. So as much reduction of human intervention as possible. This is good for governments also, because governments want, that we should have all as much automated, more tax collection, more compliance, and compliance will get automated, right? You have to generate an annual report. You don't have to send an annual report to the MCA or whatever. You don't have to sit and make it. It will get prepared automatically based on all the data that is there in the system. And we are already having that much data, right? So everything all transactions are getting tracked. Not yet fully, but over time it will be that all transactions are being tracked. Then why is there an accountant sitting and making all these balance sheets? Why is there a CS sitting and doing compliance? Why can't it happen automatically? It will be automatic in future, like that. You'll be you're setting up a company. Along with that, you will get a software. The software will track everything and do all the compliances. And this is, we don't know how long it will take, but it pretty much looks the future. People are already built such companies. It is not like I'm talking about some science fiction. People have already built such companies. Okay. And they are running mutual funds. They are running venture capital funds right now. Mostly funds are running like this through DAOs. And there will be other DAOs, escrow DAOs. uh, are there. There will be other ones. Okay, arbitration. I gave you the example of arbitration already, and it is brilliant because there are so many allegations and trust issues that who is being appointed as the arbitrator. Is the arbitrator fair or not? There is so much that can be avoided if you just have a distributed system like this, which is automatically appointing arbitrators. There are automatic processes, right? The data is being shared automatically from both sides for the arbitrator to decide. Because there may be data in the system. Already there will be data. There will be rich data from both sides. And then people can give other data also. They can intervene. They can give more data. No problem. They can give more proof. And then the arbitrator can do online hearings if it wants. There is this possible to have no hearing arbitrations also. Without hearing, based on documentary evidence, arbitration can happen. And these things will happen depending on what kind of issues we are talking about. This will happen. And already there is technology which supports such things. Escrow agreements, I already gave example. Appointment of adjudicators, I already gave this example. One good example is contract management and performance. Now, this is where the smart contract comes, right? So let's say if it is a smart contract, it can execute itself. So it says that, okay, so I'll give an example of a smart contract. So let's say it is a forward contract option or something like that, right? So derivative contracts. So it will be like that. If the price of petrol is more than 100 liter a barrel on so and so date, then I will pay you XYZ money. Okay, I'll pay you $1,000 if this is a valid derivative contract that people buy today off the counter. Okay, now this contract can be on blockchain so that nobody can avoid it, and then the money will automatically, all of this will happen automatically, right? It just becomes automated. There is no human intervention. So blockchain removes the human intervention part, which is very, very powerful because it increases trust, it increases number of transactions, it reduces errors, it reduces fraud, it reduces cheating, it takes away all the lack of transparency. Okay. Ashima is saying human intellect can't be compared to technology. Technology can only answer to certain algorithms that are already there. No problem. But why do you? There are certain things where you don't want human to put his brain, right? For example, you get your salary on a certain date of the month. It should happen, if it happens automatically without any human brain being applied, will you like it? You like it by kya jarurat hai? Automatic ho raha hai to acha hai na. In escrow, do you want a human to put his brain? If it is working fine, it's better. Human puts his brain, he might decide wrongly. Human puts his brain, may have some other reason to act maliciously. Right? Problem is there. Na? Appointment of judges. If you can do appointment of judges based on blockchain and no human being is involved in it, you put all the criteria, so it will happen automatically then. So it will be allocation of judges, forget appointment, allocation of judges in a case. Which case will we go to which court before we judge? If this is done automated, will it increase people's trust? Will you trust the system more that, okay, nobody has control as to which case goes before whom? So it's not like that some politically sensitive case will specifically be sent before a certain judge. That cannot be done then, right? So there are areas where you want human beings to apply their mind, and there are areas where human beings not applying their mind is even better, right? Will blockchain reduce insolvency of companies? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It can, some insolvencies will be sped up because there'll be transparency, no? So people can't hide and all of that. So you can even, if when people are coming together to set up a company, they can say that, okay, if these things are triggered, then the company will be wound down. They can build it into the company's code from the beginning, right? Okay. So contract management and performance. So contracts can become the management, like, contracts may have certain terms that on so and so date, this task has to be done, then this milestone payment will happen, after that this task will be done, then this much payment will happen, and all of that, right? Now imagine all of that was in a smart contract and it happens automatically. It will reduce so much friction, it will reduce so much confusion, and all these people avoiding performance of contract and all, it will become very difficult. Many problems will be solved. Okay. Then the question of security deposits. Imagine that all the people who are having landlords, and you provide a security deposit. Now security deposit with the landlord. Now what is happening when you are leaving the place? Landlord doesn't want to give your security deposit back. He creates some problems. He comes up with some false reason to not give you your security deposit. What can you do in that circumstances, right? But if it was based on blockchain, then all of this won't happen. Like, there's only one question: yes, no. Are they leaving the house? Yes. Are they have they paid all the rent? Yes. Is there any damage to the system? No. Okay. If there is a damage, what is the how to assess that damage? Everything will have to be figured out from the beginning, right? What is the assessment of that damage? Okay, and, input that damage, rest of the money goes out. So there can be such clear-cut things and without any human intervention. So the landlord also has no control over this system. This kind of systems can be created using blockchain. Why security? Security can be for so many other things also, not only landlord tenant situation, so many other situations also. IP validation. IP validation is a very major area. So intellectual property. So let's say I am claiming that I am the first one to write this poem, or I am the first one to come up with this idea. Now there has, if you have if your information or your creation or your research is on a blockchain based database, then you can establish the date of priority beyond doubt, right? If somebody else comes and claims that no, I am the first one to write this, then you can show that no, this is not correct, because here is the proof that how it got created, when what was happening, and so on, right? Because you can show. So IP, you can validate the IP. So this is not the only thing. Let's say I am selling a watch and I'm claiming that this is a Rolex watch. Okay. Now we can use blockchain to find out that if that is true or not, because this record can be verified. Imagine your mark sheet if it is on blockchain, then it is like immutable. It's fully trustworthy, right? Nobody can change it. So similarly, I can go and check that, okay, if they're saying this clock, this wristwatch was made in so and so year, in so and so place, this was the registration number, I can see everything from blockchain. Then is this that wristwatch or not? Okay, and this has been used for luxury goods, for tracking them, and everything gets moved. Like the wristwatch is sold to another person, it gets into the blockchain. So you have proof, and you can see the entire history from entire movement, where it was this Rolex was first created here and then moved here and then was on the store and sold from the store. So entire supply chain can be tracked on blockchain, and people have built such systems already. Okay. Exams and selection process. So imagine that UPSC and other this kind of selection process. Okay, if it happens on blockchain, then you can remove the middleman and you can increase fairness. You can reduce any chances of corruption, question paper being leaked, and so on using blockchain. Okay, for selection process especially. Stock market can function entirely automated on a DAO. There is no, and already it almost happens, but there is a risk, security risk, that somebody may hack into the stock exchange and create havoc and wipe out data and so many problems, right? But then it will be a huge shock to the country's economy if that thing can be done. But imagine if it is on a distributed ledger, if it is on a stock exchange is running on a distributed automatic organization, then that can be avoided. Okay, what else can you think of? There's so many things, right? There is no end. Like, it's human creativity. This is a very powerful concept. Take it and apply it anywhere, and you will find n number of applications. Okay. But primarily, why is it so important? Because it increases trust. People have more trust in the system, and immutable records it is creating, so that fraud and all of that cannot be done. And what do we need in India for this to happen? So this is where we need to talk about our. There are two questions were there. One question was there, whether what should be the regulation. Now the problem is that government of India has tried to ban cryptocurrency, and they are trying to come up with another law for banning cryptocurrency. Now you have to understand that blockchain cannot function without those tokens and those cryptocurrency, right? So what has happened in since actually Indian startups were doing very good in the blockchain field. Okay, they were coming up with new companies, they were doing research, they were building applications. But now, because when it got banned, a law was passed, banking connections were cut off. So all those companies shifted to other countries, right? Some shifted to Australia, somebody shifted to Malta, somebody shifted to Japan, Dubai. Many companies shifted to Dubai. Now, what happened? All this is actually a brain drain. From our country, all the top blockchain technology companies ran away because the problem is that blockchain cannot function without all these computers, which will be part of the public blockchain. They have to be rewarded. And if they have to be rewarded, there has to be some kind of cryptocurrency or something. Now, if that is not allowed by government, if that is illegal, then how can I function in this country? It is risky. I might be at legal risk simply for running a blockchain in this country. Forget even if it is not, my primary goal is not to provide a cryptocurrency, right, like Bitcoin or something, but I want to run blockchain based systems in this country. Even if the government has been discussing how to, in fact, before their government lost in Andhra Pradesh, Chandrababu Naidu was exploring the idea as to how the land records of Andhra Pradesh can be actually put into blockchain. Okay, because it's a huge impact, it'll have a huge benefit. But then, you know, uh, it's not possible. If cryptocurrency is banned, then even government runs it. Government will also have to do this. Na? So there has to be some kind of token and so on for these things to work. And then there has to be a market for that token. Somebody's getting token. What is the value of it unless they can sell it and get money against it, right? So there are such practical problems. Without cryptocurrency, blockchain cannot survive. Yeah, sure, government should be careful that there is no speculation. People are not losing their life savings by speculating on these things. There are no crooks who are for falsely misleading people and selling these things. But altogether, banning it means that India will be left out of this revolution. It is already happening. India has lost most of its talented blockchain developers. They have gone out of the country, or they are working for foreign companies sitting here in India. But Indian companies, innovation not happening in India, and it is not possible until government will come up with support, regulate it. It's not like let people do whatever they want. Have proper regulations, but it is important that there is. Otherwise, we will not have the benefit of this technology altogether. Banning cryptocurrency means banning blockchain. Okay. But somehow Indian government officials talk very highly of blockchain, that we'll do this, but then they ban cryptocurrency. Then how is it possible? It's logically not possible. Okay. What is their intention behind banning cryptocurrency? I think protecting the common people, because what happened, some crooks were selling these cryptocurrencies to the poor people, saying that your money will get doubled, your money will get tripled, and people were getting cheated out of it. So because of that, government banned, I think. Who would be liable for blockchain? Nobody's liable. It's a public system, right? It's an infrastructure, right? Why should anyone be liable? If it is a bad blockchain, if something bad is being done using it, then you find the creators, you find the people who are running the computers, catch them. But otherwise, what is the problem? It's running, right? So, I mean, who's liable? There's nothing to be liable for. Okay. Um, Ban has been removed by Supreme Court on cryptocurrency. See, ban has been removed, but that does not mean everything is fine. Okay, because tomorrow they will make another law and then ban it again. So then nobody wants to take the risk. No? They know who wants to invest their work, their money, and then get back banned tomorrow again. Supreme Court has said this law is not good enough. This law is wrong. So they have banned it. But it won't continue no, forever like that is the problem. So yeah. So that is pretty important that that there's clarity, there is good law, good regulations. You can see that so many countries have come up with proper regulations. Japan has proper regulations. South Korea has proper regulations. China has banned it. Um, some countries have banned it, and there are other fears also that people criminals will use this. The criminals use cash also. Are we banning cash? We did demonetization once, but criminals are still using cash. Criminals are using cars, so will you ban cars also? It's a tool that everybody can use. It cannot be banned like this. It is a very bad idea, right? Okay, so there's a question which is very interesting that I want to answer is what will happen? Will there be less work for people? Okay, wherever our efficiency increases in the society, okay, it is not that people become poor, their job go away. No, it has never happened. This is the argument that was given in India to prevent computers from coming into India. I belong from Bengal, and there the Communist Party, which was in power for many years, said that computers are very bad. Computers we don't want in our state. If there are computers in any company, it cannot be used. People used to play games in the computer because the union, workers union, has stipulated that nobody will use any computer in any office in Bengal. So what happened? Okay, it is such a stupid thing. Now, because computer came up, people have lost jobs. No, there are more jobs. There's more economic activity. There is more money in the system. There is more prosperity. Now, see what happens when there is more efficiency in the system. Then people make more money. Then they spend it. They spend it on entertainment. They spend it on restaurants. They spend it on so many other things, right? So the work increases and the economy increases and increases and increases. So many new things come up, right? That never existed before. So computers was same fear was there. If there is computer, one person will do 10% job, then all that 10 or 9 jobs will go out. It never happens. Automation has always increased output and increased prosperity. If nothing else, if there is a fear, many people say that if there is AI, then AI will do all the work. Human beings will not have to do any work. Fine, then we'll be free. We don't work. We will chill all day. But if all the money is somewhere, somebody is making the money. Then government has a system. Government taxes them, then distributes the money to others. It's okay. Things will work out. But it is no justification that we don't want any technology. We want to go back. There is less technology. There is more work for everyone. This is not true. And people find work. People create work. Okay, so it has never happened in history that because of technology everybody lost their job. And sure, some people lose their job. They have to be reskilled. They have to learn something new. They have to do something new. That is, but it's not like that blockchain. Yeah, there will be a lot of automation because of blockchain. Massive amount of automation. But it will be good for the economy. It will be good for efficiency. It will be good for output. Naturally, everything then will improve from there. It will be beneficial for all the people. Any other question I can answer for you guys? There's a question on what task management software do I use? Google Calendar is a very good. Lakshmi Pillai, as per you, sir, what kind of infrastructure India need to develop so that blockchain tech can be provided for everyone and they are not exploited? Or do India already have infrastructure? We just need to improve. We need first the law. There is infrastructure private companies will build. There is nothing else needed, and government can have some blockchain project. The government decided, okay, we are going to put, like Dubai has decided its entire government will run on blockchain. All governance, everything running on blockchain. And they will finish it by 2025 or something. Already many things are on blockchain. Doing that will help to attract good blockchain companies. They'll get some funding, they'll get clients, all of that, right? It helps to kickstart things. And we need a good law so that it will attract good companies from around the world to come here and build blockchain infrastructure. Government is not going to build it. We need good laws and we need government to commit that we are going to spend money on blockchain projects, and then everything will happen. Okay, Ashi is again asking, I understand in blockchain contracts, friction will be reduced, but it can't compel people to perform contracts, right? I don't understand how it can be helpful in enforcing contracts. Okay, so the guy does not perform the contract, then automatically the compensation will be paid. It can be done like that, right? So if I don't perform my job by so and so day up to the standard of satisfaction, which can be objective, you can put a referee, whatever. But if it is not done, then automatically I will get compensation, which money is being held in escrow. It can be created, right? So it can be helpful in enforcing contract. All right, so people have to pay in advance. It can be paid in advance, or it can be connected with your bank account. There are many ways to do that, right? It can be paid in advance. Lot of things. So, for example, anybody who enrolls into a course with us, they pay in advance, right? They pay in advance, then they join. When you go to, go to a, I don't know, you go to get a massage in a massage parlor, you pay and then enter, right? If you go to a train, you first pay the money to the ticket and then board the train, right? So many things we pay in advance, and it's not necessary that it will always be. So some, it's an option at least. No, the option will be there. Whole process going. I can understand your question, Ashi. You want to come on the mic and ask a question? But anyway, I have very less time today. I have a request. You can any questions. I mean, I'll be happy to answer on even on LinkedIn. You can post. I have to go today. I have some other commitments, but you can post your questions on LinkedIn. Tag me, and I will answer your questions. I have also one request that please join me on Twitter. Okay, like if you guys are on Twitter, if you're not on Twitter, you should join Twitter. It's a very good idea, and you should definitely connect with me on Twitter, because my I have no more space on my LinkedIn to add any new people, but I can add you on Twitter. We can follow each other. We can also if you have any questions, I can answer them. I'm happy to answer your questions on Twitter. So if you tweet your questions to me, I'll answer them. You can send me private messages also on Twitter. So that'll be great. So connect. I'll be very happy to connect with all of you on Twitter and take forward this conversation. I have shared my link over here of my Twitter. Please join me there. If you have any questions, post them on Twitter or LinkedIn and tag me. I'll be very happy to answer. So I look forward to connecting with all of you and answering more questions going forward. Also, I am doing these sessions every day at 9 p.m. Very interesting topics every single day at 9 p.m. So 9 to 10 p.m. I do these things. So you'll also, if you're on my Twitter, you'll also get the update. Okay, you will get the update on Twitter regularly. Okay, on what my sessions are going to happen, so you can register and participate. So that will be also very nice. So definitely looking forward to connect with all of you on Twitter and have further discussion. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care.